Hey Brendan, can I have screen sharing ability?
Yes, I'll give everyone screen sharing ability.
Ah,
Advanced. There we go. All right, it is 7. I'll make it 7:09. Welcome to the March Outreach Committee meeting. Let me take this down my notes. And I will do roll call right now. Brandon Marino's obviously here because that's me. Karen Sorrow, I think, is still absent. She's still taking her exams. Sherry Kessel. Terry Austin. There she is.
Hmm.
Okay. Julie Houlihan.
I'm here.
And Ira Gold.
Here.
Okay, we have a quorum. Item number 2, I sent out the February minutes on the 25th, and I just sent them out again today to double up. Are there any objections to those minutes? If not, I will approve them without objection. Anything? No? Okay, approved without objection. Update by me. One thing, Richard Niederberg wanted me to point out to you that National Night Out is happening in August. We have a ways to go, but I think this is going to be a joint venture between Cultural Affairs and Outreach. Again, it's August, so we have plenty of time. But I'm going to be a part of it. We're going to have a kiosk out there, and I don't exactly know which park yet we're going to have it in. But anybody who wants to volunteer from Outreach, I will be mentioning this every single month just to keep up on it. But when I have more information about when it is, what park it is, and all the pertinent information, I'll keep you appraised of it. Um, Social media. I've been hitting social media hard. We've been
Yes.
doing a little better, but as I look at other neighborhood councils, they're kind of generating the same numbers we do. Um, a lot of impressions and a few shares, but they're not. It's not quite carrying over to actual attendance just yet. Um, I'll just keep plugging away, trying to make these social media posts as colorful as possible, as eye-catching as possible, because people have their phone and they're just kind of scrolling through. So the more eye-catching and colorful, the better, from what I understand. And we'll just keep plugging away and see if we can get more attendance generated. And we'll come back to this in where's my here it is in agenda item number 8. But for now, that's just, there's nothing more to update. Public comments on non-agenda items that are within the jurisdiction of this committee. So if anybody has a question or some comments, we have, it's a small group, so just talk. I'll have Scott first. Go right ahead.
Thank you, Brandon. I just heard you mention National Night Out, and I'm very happy to hear public safety is off the hook. But we'll certainly chime in. And
I think a lot of people are going to be a part of it, but it was just
yeah,
Richard Niederberg asked me to ask Outreach.
great. And I forwarded you some information I had, and I'll be happy to round up the law so they show up to our booth, and whatever else I can do. I totally will volunteer to be there, carry tables and whatever needs. I have a minivan, so I'll help as the time gets closer. One more quick comment about our new improved web page. Is that still a budget committee and treasurer and city clerk issue, or is that in your hands and you just won't
No, it is
have the
not in
ribbon
my.
cutting?
It is not in my hands. It is completely out of my hands now. It's. I don't even think it's in Kim's hands right now. I think it's. I think the switch over to our new clerk rep, whatever their name is. It's not Posada anymore. It's somebody else. I've seen the invoices come in, but I think it's confusing because from what I understand, it's because it's $2,500. There's some kind of confusion about it, which doesn't make sense to me because Web Corner already has close to, I think, 20 neighborhood councils that have switched over to the SaaS system. And for the life of me, I can't understand what the LA City Clerk's problem is, since other neighborhood councils have submitted the same invoice. So I forwarded that to Kim, and she's handling it. Hopefully, sooner than later, we will get that passed through, and we'll make the switch over to the SaaS system. Barry, go ahead.
Yes, I was just going to mention that all of the national nights out we have done in the past have been led by public safety and outreach.
It's fine.
Cultural affairs has never been part. I mean, these events are largely, it's an outreach to the community, and the booths have always been public safety oriented. I'm not sure what's cultural about the event.
I think you're correct on that. It might be my mistake. Maybe it wasn't cultural affairs. Maybe it was public safety or another committee. I know Richard Niederberg did talk to me about it, but it could have been. It might not have been cultural affairs. Maybe because it was Richard and I associate Richard with cultural affairs. Maybe that's why I said it. But you might be correct. I might be wrong about that. I do know Richard told me about it. But yeah.
Yeah, he's participated, but it wasn't a cultural affairs committee event.
I'm almost positive. I think most committees will be represented there. Why not? I mean, I think it's just going to be a potpourri of I said the word potpourri. I can't believe I just said that. Of board members and stakeholders, whoever wants to attend. But yeah, it's August. There's still plenty of time to vet it out. Any other comments in public comment section? No. Nobody. Julie has a question. Go ahead.
I just wanted to say I've been seeing your posts, and I think you're doing a great job. And if it didn't violate the code of conduct, I would like them.
Well, yeah, there's that about, what was it, AB334? What was that last email from Empower LA? There's an assembly bill that says what Julie's talking about is an assembly bill, and I have to go back through my emails, but Empower LA kind of double tapped us on emails, like one after the next. They had their, they had their newsletter, but before that they had another email where they're talking about an assembly bill that states that if you are, say, the Studio City Neighborhood Council, the official Twitter page of it likes another page or another post, that could be infraction or taking a position on something. So I guess the rule of thumb is don't like anything unless it's another neighborhood council. It's crazy. Peter, you had something to add?
I don't know if I'm going to add. I'm going to say something.
Go for it.
And I won't use the word potpourri.
Please don't.
I would suggest that you take or someone take those 3-4 hour meetings that the board meetings and chop them up into bite-sized chunks. So take when you have the government officials, that would be a perfect little thing to make a nice little clip of, and the president can send it out in his weekly email to the public if he would do that. Or each committee, or Nithya Raman, or you get it. I just think that's a perfect excuse for the president to not be so shy and just shove these little clips down the public's throat so they know what's going on.
Good. And maybe you can talk about the ad hoc committee for Sportsman's Lodge while he's at it.
What's that? I haven't heard anything about that. Is it? Oh, never mind.
No. I know that's one of your big bugaboos, so I just wanted to.
Nah, I don't care. I don't really care anymore.
Okay. Anybody else? No? Okay, then that section will be closed. Let me put this over here so I'm not constantly moving. Possible presentation by public officials. Item 5. I do not see any public officials here. Not even us, because according to the Department of Neighbor Empowerment, we're volunteers, so we're not even public officials. We'll move to 6. Info sheets for SCNC committees. One sheet that would contain pertinent information regarding the mission of the highlighted committee. Example, homelessness sheet. I'll show you in a moment. And Ira has something to show you as well. I just mocked something up based on Luis Oliart's, from what I can understand, it looked like a PowerPoint presentation that used a Studio City logo I've never seen. But it must be ancient. And I just took it and I just turned it into a one sheet. and I'm still trying to get something back from him regarding Ventura Boulevard. He had Vicky from BID, but Vicky wanted her name off it because she's a private individual. BID is not a public entity. So I suggested maybe the CD4 street team. The yeah, I'm reading the. I see Julie's hand up. Just give me a moment. I recommended the CD4 Ventura Street team because they're specific to Ventura Boulevard, but again, I'm still waiting on that. Julie had something to add.
Yeah, I just wanted to mention about the flyer that Luis had made. That was made by someone that is a volunteer that he works with, and it's not actually officially an SCNC document, just so everybody's clear. But I think if we do want to adopt it, we probably need to do a few revisions. But we have been handing it out. So
here's what I have, and then just in a moment, Ira will show what he has. Let me just show you what I'm talking about here. This is what I'm talking about. Basically, it's all the pertinent information Louise had on that sheet. Not the details, not the screen captures of when you go to the website what to click. Simply because it could be on the reverse of this, but I just wanted the basic information. I know the color is a little garish, but at the same time, I don't want to use red or blue because that might be political in nature. I wanted to keep kind of shades of green, which I know Peter hates, but this is just a mock-up. And basically, it's the same thing, like Julie said, that presentation had step 1, step 2, step 3. If you notice along Ventura Boulevard, next to that, I have CD4 Ventura team with 4 question marks because I don't know if Hayes Davenport wants to have his email on here or if they have a specific email for the Ventura team that they were talking about that they just put together. So this is kind of what I had in mind about something that can be passed out to kiosks. This is the homelessness action guidelines, but say land use can have something regarding just infusing people with knowledge about land use issues and how you can get involved. Public safety, Scott's committee can have a one sheet or a double-sided one sheet regarding how you can get involved if you see potholes or if you see something that might be a danger. You could do, or even for public safety, you can even have LAHD information, the housing department, about renters' rights and conditions within a tenancy that might be unhealthy. So there's a lot of things these committees can do to put on these one sheets that can be passed out. They can be knocked out really easily. I believe we do have a color printer back at the office, if I'm not mistaken. They can be knocked out super quick. And there could be little stacks of them. And if somebody asks a question, here you go, or take a bunch of them. So I'm going to leave this up to Ira now. Ira, do you have something to share?
Yeah, I have this right here. So this is a draft of something I did not create that. Let me show you what I actually created.
That's okay.
Oh, yes. Okay. I did create this. This is it. There was just a screen in front of it. So, so this is just a rough kind of a thing, an idea of the one sheet that I proposed at a previous meeting. Pretty much there's 2 sides to this. It's really, I'm fielding a lot of emails that the board's seeing, right? There's kind of a misunderstanding of what the Studio City Neighborhood Council actually is meant for and what we can do and what we can't do. So I think it's really important that we at least put something very simple and straightforward of kind of a guideline of what we can and what we can't, at least in general. So this is what the Studio City Neighborhood Council is, basically. And then these are some things that we can do. And then a call to action. What's on your mind? How can we be of service? And then email us, and here's our board email. So something really, really simple. It probably could use some zhuzhing, right? Maybe some embellishments. That's not my strong suit.
It's mine. It's mine.
Yes,
I can do something with it.
Brandon, you're really good at that. I just I make this on Canva. So, and then here's some useful contacts. I took some of your suggestions that you emailed me and put in some contact information here. Now, again, the goal of this is really, in my opinion, would really just be some quick contacts, not a comprehensive list of everything that we would put in that somebody would need, but just some of the probably the most useful or most common questions. So councilperson District 2, councilperson District 4, and this information is directly from either mailing pieces that they sent, for example, Nithya Raman's phone number.
Yeah.
That was on a piece of mail that I received from her as somebody who lives in her district. Non-emergency police response, renters questions, Brandon, like you mentioned, it's on here. The 20, do you know that there's a 24-hour number for Bureau of Sanitation? So if when 311 closes and it's 8 p.m. and you want to call to get something picked up, something scheduled for next week, they actually answer. You can get, it's almost direct. So here's that number. I call that frequently. And then city services through 311, right? And then Barry, I think you're here. Look, contact the Studio City Neighborhood Council for assistance with any of the above. So if they're having trouble with these, we're giving them how to fix it, what to do, where to go. And if they have any issues getting to these services, then they can contact us. And I also have the Instagram on here. So, and by the way, Brandon, to your point about each committee can have their own one sheet. If I'm not mistaken, every committee has a blurb, a description on our website.
Yeah.
So I think even at the very least, you can have a one sheet with all the descriptions on there.
Yeah, that's the satellite postings for that I put out at the beginning of the month. That little blurb. It's some committees are a little more wordy than others, but I try to break it down to maybe 2 sentences so people seeing the satellite posting can get a pretty good idea what that committee is all about.
Cool.
You know, and going back to something Terry mentioned about maybe a big foam board. A sign that could be next to the kiosk. That'd be perfect for that, by the way. People walking by our kiosk can see that, at least the first page, and say, oh, that's what we're all about. So let's go to public first and then committee. Barry?
I was just going to say parking enforcement is also 24/7. And the color printer in our office, we generally use for, 1 to 10 copies because the toner is very expensive. And when we start doing stuff for handouts at like the farmer's market, we've usually used a printer, because it's less per copy. So
there's a printer on the corner of Fulton and Moore Park. I'm not going to mention the name because I don't want to make it sound like I'm pimping it, but they're pretty reasonable and it's pretty high quality. So that's just around the corner from where I live. It wouldn't be hard at all to knock out some color copies. So,
and we've used Arnold's near Carpenter too. So maybe we can see who's cheaper.
Okay. Terry, you had something?
I was just going to say on the information sheet that has a lot of email addresses, I think in some cases it's also good to put a telephone number in those. And the one I'm specifically thinking about is when you're talking about encampments or anything that's on the river, because one side is county and one side is city. And so I know when I was trying to get an encampment cleaned up, I had success by calling repeatedly to the county number first thing in the morning when they open, and then got an individual to speak with and got his individual email address. So I think a phone number, it's often more personal than.
Let me ask you about that.
Yeah.
The north side's county, the south side of the city. Yeah. Is the city side only the developed parts like walkways? All of the southern side of the Ellie River is city.
Well, the south side is the county. And the
north side's the city and the south side's the county?
Yeah, because the encampment
No, it's all county. It's all county. It's just that the city has beautified it.
Okay, so basically the easements are county. The actual river is Army Corps of Engineer. The easements are county, but the walkways, like between Coldwater and Whitsett, that's maintained by the city, even though it's county property, correct?
Did you say between Coldwater and Whitsett?
Yeah.
Yeah. Well,
on the south side, yes.
Okay, so my experience, Barry, and Barry always, I will say this, I'm not saying this facetiously, he is always right about these things. However, my experience
on,
was, no,
please.
it's serious, no, he knows, he actually.
He's insufferable
he
as
was
it
born
is.
and raised
Please
here, he knows
don't.
everything.
Oh, he is right. He is right on
No,
most
I
things.
go to him.
He has the most
Oracle.
experience of all of us. He
Barry
knows.
is the oracle. I no doubt about it.
Barry knows.
But absolutely. But my experience was the encampment was right at the bottom of the ramp on the south side of in between Laurel Canyon and Whitsett, right at the bottom of the ramp where the bank is, that the Guild Bank. And so when I called Krikorian's office, I was told at that time, we can't do anything about that. You have to call the county. And then I called the county. And like I said, I repeatedly called. I got a really nice young man on the phone. And I said, this is public access. They're blocking it. You can't go one way or the other. And within a week, it said county on it. So I went down to look. And they came and they moved the whole thing out. So that was my personal experience, that it was the county that actually responded. And it was the councilman's office who said, that is the county's, we can't do anything. So I don't know. And like I said,
And he's wrong.
Well, there you are. But Barry,
because right at
guys.
Laurel Canyon, where you enter that south side, there's a LA City sign there.
Yes, it says a greenway, right?
Recreation and Parks, LA City.
Right.
So they've maintained it and put in the walkway, but it's still county land.
So Barry, is it a case where they're both responsible then, and that the city is responsible for keeping it up in terms of landscaping, and that the county is responsible? Because these people had a barbecue going down there, and that's what I mentioned, and I took pictures of it with smoke coming out of it.
Let me just get some order here. This isn't a homeless committee meeting.
No, I'm just saying.
I think what you're saying is there should be we should have something that clearly defines, if you have a problem at the LA River, what side determines who to speak to. Maybe we can have like a little diagram.
It doesn't. It has nothing to do with sides. And basically, the county wants nothing to do with it. That's why under the county for decades, it was fenced off, and they didn't want to do any maintenance. And then the city came in and beautified it. And yes, they take care of the maintenance, but now it's so easy for them to say, oh yeah, we take care of the plants, but we're not going to do anything about the homeless. That's the county's problem. Right. And this is just so city and county to say it's the other person's problem.
Got it. Okay. Scott, your hand's been up for a while.
Just wanted to say Coldwater to Whitsett, North Bank, Zev Yaroslavsky Greenway is under the jurisdiction of the MRCA, Mountain Recreations Conservation Authority. It's a separate carve out. It is maintained by the MRCA. I was speaking with them actually yesterday. And when there's issues there, I have the phone number for the ranger, Tony Scadelia, and he will, they're actually tagging a tent that was on the property, and they have 72 hours to remove it. And the sheriff's county park division is the second jurisdiction on that. There's because the MRCA doesn't have an investigatory and criminal division. So they are first jurisdiction, and then LA County Sheriff's Park Police are second. But of course, anything that's going on, the LAPD will still come and save you as well. So
can you email that to me?
Sure. Absolutely.
Because I'm sorry. Hold on, let me just say something really quick, and then it'll be Julie. It almost seems like we need a piece of paper that shows that's actually a graphic that shows the river, and just certain sections with little arrows pointing to a description of who runs this section, who you need to call, so they can look at the image and say, okay, it's over here. This is who we need to call. This section, this is who we need to call. But it sounds too complicated to be put in writing. I think it needs actually an image, a drawing, basically breaking it down, what is what and where it goes.
I'll send you my map. I have it carved out, and it has the contact numbers. And
that sounds good.
Yeah,
sounds good. Julie, and then Ira. You wanted to say something, Julie?
I was just going to say, I think there's more detail about that in Luis's document, but it sounds like Scott might have that covered.
Yeah. Ira?
Yeah, so I'm just curious for clarification, are these suggestions, are these for something we would be sending out or handing out at a farmer's
out.
market?
No, yeah, this is basically we're talking about handouts here, the one
Okay.
sheets, but they can also be whenever the SaaS system kicks in from the website. These can be like PDFs that can be downloaded from the site, hopefully.
I think that would be cool. I think we should.
And then you have hyperlinks where you can just click the email and it'll pop up your mail.
I think that'd be
program.
great. I think it'd be great for the website, but I think I want to caution us on biting too much off, than we can chew. If we're trying to get some things together to put at a table at a farmer's market, I think we're starting to. We might have too many things that we're trying to do that as opposed to something fairly simple. So I think we should kind of Brandon, discuss what the goal is, what our timeframes are, what kind of shape, like what we're actually going to want to put in this and how much work we're going to want to do to get it ready. Because I think these are great ideas. I just think it might start getting a little more involved for something as simple. That's just my opinion. So I'd love to hear your thoughts.
What I'll probably do is next month, in the month of April, visit each committee and say, I'd like to speak to your committee. Outreach would like to speak to your committee, and then actually convey this to them and say, if you guys want to put together a one sheet, let us know. Again, this is one of those things where, yeah, it'll be a lot of stuff, but I would rather err on the side of having too much stuff and having just some wasted paper off to the side than having a stakeholder walk up and say, I need information on this, and we don't have it. The LA River is a big deal to a lot of people, so I think it's a topic that'll come up time and time again. So as public safety would come up time and time again. Government affairs, no knock on Barry's committee. I don't know if that's something that would come up as often because it's not in people's faces all the time. As homelessness is, as public safety problems with, potholes or construction or what have you. And the LA River is right there in front of them. So I think these are questions that will come up a lot. We'll whittle it down to the most important things. We could probably put a couple of, like maybe Barry's government affairs and transportation. That could be maybe just one page, just basic. If you have issues about street lights or whatever, call this or whatever. But we'll get to that when we get to it. Does anybody else have any other thoughts about the info sheets? Yes, Julie.
Just one last thing I wanted to say was I think it's great to print them when you have an event, but I've noticed that there's turnover in some of these offices. So I caution us about printing too many at once.
Yeah, that's why I asked about our color printer at the office. We just print as many. We'll print as many as we need for whatever event the kiosks can be a part of, and then we can just reprint it. We'll just take the flash drive over to our printer and say print 20 or print 50. So yeah, but there is a lot of turnover. Absolutely. Any other comments on agenda item 6? No. Going once, going twice. Okay, let's get to agenda item 7. Kiosks. Farmers market. And this discussion includes how best to set up an SCNC kiosk for any upcoming event. Whether it's farmers market, whether it's National Night Out, whatever. Street fair, whatever. I know Terry last month had a great point about having a physical sign just to the next to the kiosk. Maybe utilizing what Ira did, that first page, which is what the SCNC is all about, what we can do and what we can't do. We're an advisory board. We don't enact regulation. We just advise council members on how to act, getting the public's pulse on whatever council file or city whatever is out there. So this discussion is about what we would need at the kiosk, how to set it up, how many people, etc., etc. I know we've set up kiosks in the past, and Barry's probably going to say we already have a system of setting it up, but I'd like to hear what Barry has to say. Go ahead, Barry.
No, I was just going to say yes, I've done the kiosk many times for the SCNC, and you do need a number of people, but don't concentrate on the kiosk. Have 6 people or 4 people and 1 person in the kiosk with the handouts, and have the rest of them circulating and talking to people and saying, any interest in this? I'm thinking back to when the week before the Luminaria, we've been passing out the little parking passes that give all the information. But there's been other events too. But we could do the same thing with, the various outreach for calling in various, problems you have to a government agency. So it's very important to be out walking and mingling and offering, because people are not just going to come up to the table and grab one. So that is my one big recommendation.
I want to follow up on that with Ira and Terry. Are you allowed to do that at the farmers market?
Yes.
Is it something you're allowed to go around passing out, or do they want you
Yes.
to stay in your kiosk?
Well, I don't know. I've done this quite often at the farmers market, where we've had somebody at a table and if we are at a farmers market and you are the nonprofit, they provide a table. When you were talking about what you need, they provide a table and 2 chairs and the tent. If we're doing night out, I don't know what's provided. I don't know what the neighborhood council owns, but for farmers market, they provide that. But yes, I have found I've never had any security person or anybody say anything to me. However, I'm always very careful not to stand right in front of anybody's business. So I'm blocking where people are lining out to pay or something, and you never stop anybody. You just make up a thing. Hey, did you know, or would you like? And if people wave you away or something like that, you're just super polite and you walk away. So I think there is as long as you're not obstructing anything or harassing anybody, there's not a problem. But that's how I always do it. We always have, as Barry said, you have 4 or 5 people at either end of the farmer's market, because people tend to walk in a sheep-like. They walk up one side and walk up another. And people with dogs or prams tend to walk on the sidewalks and sometimes don't come into the middle much. So you want to cover all your territory. And the only thing I would add is that on that sign that is at the kiosk, I definitely put a QR code. There's a lot of people who don't want to take a piece of paper. And so if you can tell them everything's on the site or everything, here's where you access it. I find the QR codes are super popular with about 30% of people.
Okay.
And the SCRA is 50% co-owner of the farmers market with the chamber. And I can say, yes, you can do this. But yeah, it is a good idea to stay to the center of the pathway and not, stand right in front of a business.
Got it. Ira?
Okay, so I think if the goal is to educate and inform and get our services out there, I think it'd be cool. First of all, do we have an SCNC banner that we can string kind of at the bottom? Do we already have one that's printed?
Do we have? Is it the old logo or the new logo, Barry? The banner.
We have 2 of the old. We haven't gotten the new. We were about to get the new when COVID hit.
Okay, so the SCNC banner, right? And then of course I think it should say Studio City Neighborhood Council as opposed to just the abbreviation. And then I think would be cool is if we have a separate banner we can put right below it that just says "What's on your mind?" or something like that. I'm thinking like the Doctor is in from the Peanuts characters, right? Just something because look, if we're trying to get people to interact with us, I would love to have people come over. I mean, we're going to have people that are frustrated. And what's the number one thing people are probably going to talk to us about is the homeless issue. I have no issue engaging, even just on a very light, superficial level at the farmer's market. And I think that would be a good way to entice people to at least come to the booth, even if they have an agenda and they want to vent about something. I think that would still be a win because it'd be an interaction.
Yeah, get involved. That's something that Terry brought up. That was one thing I now stick on all of the posts. Yeah, just some kind of catchphrase. And yeah, if they vent, it's fine. They're stakeholders. They have a right to just say what's on their mind. And even if they're venting, they may say something that we didn't know before. Well, so that's interesting. We didn't know that. And sometimes people just bottle it up. They don't want to talk. They don't want to get involved. They don't want to say, well, I don't want to be trouble. It's like, no, tell us, let us help. We can't help you if we don't know. So yeah, that's a good idea. Just having a separate sign. I don't know how much banners cost. I don't know if we go through. Terry
Yeah,
knows?
I'm getting banners all the time made at Staples, and they make these vinyl banners, and you got to figure
Staples.
we're not posting this where it's exposed to the elements for every day. But they make these vinyl banners, and you can get one that is. I just had one recently made up. It was like $50 or $60, and it's a vinyl banner with grommets so that you can hang it, and so it's taut. And Staples will make them in 48 hours for you, and they're good and they last. Like I say, if you put them on the fence at Carpenter School and they were out in the elements and out in the hot sun every day, I don't know how long they'd last. But when you're taking them up and down and using them for 10 hours a day, I think you get 2 or 3 years use of them. There's more expensive ones. You can buy.
We
ones
have
for
a
$100.
place.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
We have a place on Ventura that does them and gives us a good deal. They've done them for like 15 years.
Yeah.
Is it
They're not
is it
expensive
the one
banners.
is it the place near the post office?
No, it's Arnold's
Arnold's.
near Carpenter,
Okay.
near Carpenter Avenue in Ventura.
Well, when we get to that point, we'll price out we'll price out how much it's going to cost, and then hopefully Lana can have a budget meeting, and we can just present it to her and get it done. Lyra, your hand is still up. You have something else to add?
Nope, that was from before. Sorry.
That's all right. Let's see. So in terms of how these kiosks operate, do people actually walk in, or is there a desk? Is there a table at the front and people walk up to the kiosk? Or will we have, say, you've got, say, I'm sure it's 8 by 8 or 10 by 10. It'll be a square. This is not a square. But do you have people walking in with tables flanking either side, and they can walk through or in? Or is a table blocking people's entrance, and this is all only our access, and people can walk around?
The tables are set up.
The latter is the only way.
Okay. Okay.
So, yeah, we've only done it with the table in front, to my recollection.
Okay. No problem. I think it okay. I guess it would work that way. It depends how many people are working the kiosk and how much stuff we have to hand out or whatever. If we have, well, there's no sides to it. It's just the top, right, with 4 posts, correct? It's an open kiosk. There's no vinyl sides.
Right, but you've got other kiosks theoretically on each side of you. So if you were walking through, you'd have to come through the front and exit the back. And those booths, they don't really want you exiting out the back.
Got it. Okay. No problem. Okay. Yes, Julie?
I was just wondering, besides the information sheet, would we consider having any other giveaways, like a pen that has SCNC on it, or a something we can hand people?
No, Barry knows every square inch of our alleged office as I've never seen before in my life because of COVID. I know we still have something in there, but it's probably all stuck with the old logo. Barry?
We have pens. We probably have close to 1,000 pens.
Wow. Okay. Everybody
I
can use
think
a
that's
pen.
always
They sort
fun
of
to
have
give
the
people something they
old-
want to use.
Yes.
They kind of have the old logo, but it's really not. It's so small, but it has this. It says Studio City Neighborhood Council, and it's got the city seal. So I think it wouldn't look. It would be good to give out. They're bright green,
Okay.
Excellent.
so it
That's
goes
great.
with the green theme.
Everybody needs pens. Right?
I love pens.
I know, everyone loves it. It's the one thing. Don't give me another coffee mug or a t-shirt.
It'll be in the kitchen by their list thing, and they'll be like, oh,
Yep. Okay, so that's good. I mean, if they're getting one sheets, and maybe some of these sheets might have a little section on the back with notes. Maybe you have a one sheet that maybe a double-sided one sheet that maybe the second side, it only goes down about halfway. Maybe there could be a section for notes, and they can flip it over and they can write down whatever information they need that might not be on the sheet, or just something they want to write down. That'd be great. Get some paper. Here's a pen. That would work. That
Yay.
would work well. Okay, so we have about 1,000 pens. Okay. Anything to add on this kiosk agenda item? I'm sure we'll talk in more detail as we get closer to actually implementing kiosks. The mask mandate is over tomorrow, apparently. I know LA County, not for schools, but for everywhere else. I think, except if there's some place with over 1,000 people, you still have to show a vaccination identification. But we're getting close. We're getting close to doing this. So anybody have any ideas about this, please email me. We don't necessarily have to. Oh, Ira?
Yeah, just a question. So in my mind, I always think of like, how do we move it from planning to action, right? So I'm curious, one, who needs to prove, if anybody, can approve the assets for the table? That's one question.
Well, if there's a Studio City logo on there, I'm assuming it goes to the board.
Okay. And then,
yeah.
And then we need permission from the board to spend anything from the budget committee and the board?
Budget committee, then it goes to board.
Okay.
Lana gets it first, and then they approve it, then it goes to the board.
And then what date? Like what's our?
But from what I understand, again, I'm not really up to this. If it's a credit card purchase, it doesn't have to go through budget, correct? That was a.
It still does. It still does.
Okay, because there was some mention the other day regarding Richard having a credit card. I believe it was Cultural Affairs, and if it's a small enough charge, like say $40 or $50, does it still have to go through budget, or does it have to be over a certain amount, like 300?
If it's like considered an office expense, yes, he's gone and bought it. But if it's like say for the Luminaria, the stuff that's purchased, he doesn't go purchasing with the credit card until the budget is approved.
For like food, like water and snacks, things like that.
Yeah.
Got it. Okay.
And banners and stuff like that.
Okay.
And then what I think perhaps the most important thing, Brandon, is what we should have a date in mind, so that way we have something to reach and like a goal to hit. Because otherwise, we could talk about it for months.
Next month, April, because then summer will be right on top of us, and that's when we'll be going out, and then we'll have we're gonna have the movie situation at Beeman, I think it is. Where Cultural Affairs is finalizing that. There's gonna be a spring and then a summer movie event. I think it's Clifford the Big Red Dog. I think that was just verified today.
So like, you want to say like the third week of April? What do you think?
Well, it'll be the outreach meeting next month. What I'll do is I'll just put together a list of things we need based on this conversation today, and then we'll talk about it, set a budget, send it off to budget committee, and then that'll be sent off to the board, and hopefully by May we'll have everything ready to rock.
Cool.
Terry?
Third week of April, the Sunday is the 17th, which is Easter Sunday. And so people will not be stopping and pausing to chat. It also happens to be my birthday, if anybody cares. But I would just say that you don't want to do my 65th birthday.
Happy 45th.
Yeah, thank you. But anyway, no.
I learned early on to take 20 years off a woman's age. 10 years,
Brandon.
15 years.
Lesson well learned.
Always.
But always on a holiday, people, if they're having a celebration or something, they don't want to stop and talk. So I would suggest not the 17th.
Well, this would be just about the April outreach meeting.
The 10th or the other two Sundays.
Yeah. The April outreach meeting would just be finalizing what we need to present to budget and the board, and then
the other thing is, when we're talking about a kiosk, is that just a metaphor, or rather, that's not the right word. Are we just talking about a table and a pop-up tent, or are we talking about some sort of physical kiosk, like some enclosed booth?
It's just a general term. It's a pop-up.
Okay, good. I thought maybe that's.
Is ours 8 feet by 8 feet or 10 feet by 10 feet? What's the size of our tent?
They're 10 by 10. The tents at the farmers market are 10 by 10.
Ours, the one we have?
It's all the same. they're all, the farmer's market provides the tents for most.
Oh, they do. Okay, I
Yeah,
did not
yeah,
know
we
that.
don't have to bring one to a farmer. That's why I was asking, like, wait, like, just was
Oh,
curious. If you get permission to be there as the nonprofit, they put up a table for you. They put up 2 tables and 2 chairs and a 10-foot by 10-foot tent. And you're on the line with the vendors, and it's usually 2/3 down from Ventura Boulevard, and that's where your booth is.
okay. Ira?
Oh, I did it again.
Okay, Brittany. See, yeah. I know it's an old reference, but it still functions.
It was good.
Anybody else have anything to comment on this? If not, we'll move on to the next item. No. Okay, social media update. This would be 8. As I mentioned in the chair update, it's coming along. It's getting better. What I want to do in the coming month is actually take a proactive approach in going out to businesses who are on social media and direct messaging them and saying, listen, we're the Studio City Neighborhood Council. This is our page. We'd love for you to join or switch over from Studio City NC, which is definitely not our Instagram account. And look, if we can't shut down Studio City NC, we can definitely pull people from it. There's no rules against that. And Ira, was there any updates on maybe getting a blue check?
We did. It's done. We're official.
Oh, it's done. We already have a blue check. Okay.
Yeah, we got that expedited.
Yeah. Okay, that's great. So yeah, the fact that we have a blue check, that's our Instagram account, correct?
Correct.
Yeah,
we are now the official page.
Yeah. So it'd be very easy to reach out to them and say, guys, this is the official account. We have a blue check. Studio City NC is not the official Instagram account. Studio City Council is. And just purge of Studio City NC of most of the businesses that think we're them. And we could do that with Twitter as well. If there's any businesses you frequent that are on Twitter, just tell me, and I'll go through Twitter and I will direct message them through Twitter and say, hey, join. This is the Studio City Neighborhood Council. Please like the page. Please follow it. And just go out there and just try to build up support for our social media outlets, one business at a time. So that if anybody has any comments on that, any ideas, love to hear it. Yes, Terry.
Can we ask or encourage people to post about their businesses, or we can't let them out? Like if they put up a sign saying, Jerry's Deli, well, not Jerry's Deli, it's not there anymore. Arts Deli, if they put up their logo and as they with a tweet or an Instagram, can they do that, or can we not allow them to do that? Is that considered an advertisement?
What do you mean? Well, can you clarify that in terms of what?
If they want to tweet something to us, right, and they put a picture in their tweet, can we say to them, oh, this is a good way to advertise your business because you can put your logo in your tweet?
No, we can't do that.
Okay.
We can't advertise businesses. But if they happen to, I know on our Twitter page, sometimes there are pages that will attach us to a post. They'll at Studio City Neighborhood Council, and it will be mentioned in a post. We have no control over that. So, if Jerry's Deli wants to do that, there's nothing we can do. But we can't approach them and ask them to do it. If they do it, so be it. But we can't approach, because then it would be favoring one business over others, and that we can't do that. We can't. That would be a big red flag. But again, if they choose to do it on their own, there's nothing we could do about it. What are we going to do? Tell them not to? So, yeah. Any other comments on this? Are there ideas about being proactive and going out there and getting social media addresses to port over to our social media? Nothing? Okay. No public comments? Silence. nuts. All I hear is silence. Margin Call, great film. Check it out. Okay. We're done with 8. 9, comments from committee members on subject matters not listed on the agenda but fall within the committee's jurisdiction and possible future agenda items. Any ideas about what we can do in the coming months? It could be about kiosks. It could be about having events. Anything? No? Okay. Well, that was a quick agenda item.
Well,
Does someone have an idea? I heard a blurb. No? Okay.
admittedly, I just made a sound to see if we can keep this going while I try to think of something.
You can always email me. Closing comments by committee chair. I really don't have any closing comments. This is a quick meeting. This is less than an hour, but we still got a lot of ideas out there, a lot of things done. So as we're pulling up to 8 o'clock, I will motion to adjourn. Do I have a second?
Second.
Oh, Sherry put her hand up first, so she got you on that. She's smiling. Okay, so I'll adjourn.
Participate in something.
You had to somehow be involved. So I will adjourn about 8 o'clock, guys. Guys, have a wonderful evening, all right? If you have any ideas, please let me know.
Thank you, Brandon.
Thank you.
All right, take care.
Bye.
Bye all.
Bye.
Okay, all
It's
right.
just us. See you later. Bye.
Bye, babe.